welcome back. So in this video we're going to be continuing my series where I'm building the Star Destroyer, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. As you can see, I've made some changes and I'll address that in a moment, but the first thing I wanted to do is just to kind of answer some questions that I think might start popping up. I know this is a very much hypothetical type of me just kind of assuming that these questions will come up, but I would definitely like to address some things real quick. So the first thing that I want to say is that what kind of Star Destroyer am I building is not necessarily the important part. So I'm not building necessarily one specific type of Star Destroyer or one exact type of Star Destroyer. Like, this is not at all what a 1 to 20 scale ISD would look like. A 1 to 20 scale ISD Imperial Star Destroyer, like the one that everybody knows, would be much longer than this. This is just used for demonstration purposes. This is just as a way for me to show you guys how to use so that you can build any Star Destroyer you want. This type of model works for all of the Imperial Star Destroyers, all of the Republic Star Destroyers, anything that has that classic triangle shape, you can use so that you can build your own. You can do a Venator with this, you can do an Executor, whatever, you know. And then the second part I wanted to address is that this video has a lot of parts to it, because I really did think that it was important that we learn this by going through it gradually, rather than rushing through it altogether. So that's why I kind of try to keep myself simple, but also taking it slow at the same time. So like I keep everything simple so that I can move on, but I also like to divide it up into parts so that we understand what's going on. So I just wanted to go ahead and explain to you guys what happened here, because I don't think this requires its own part. It's pretty simple. All I did was I took this bottom layer that we already completed in the last two parts, and I just flipped it over onto the top. So instead of going from bottom, I guess I should say, instead of just going towards the bottom, right, like the standard slope towards the bottom, all you would do is just reverse that. So you notice how this one right here, right, it starts at the bottom and then it keeps going down. This one at the top just reverses that. So you do the exact same thing, you just reverse it at the top, right? It doesn't really need a lot of explanation, I think. It's pretty self-explanatory, but just to make sure you guys understand, right? See how that one's going up, right? You put your slab and the block, right? But you put it above. With here, when you're going down, you just do your block and then the slab, and it's going down. It's not as hard to understand as I explain it. You know, it's a lot easier to understand. You literally just take this and you flip it and you make it taller. You make this top part the top part, and this part the bottom part. So it's the exact same thing. So the things I wanted to explain today are what a trench is. And basically, for trenches, you can use whatever block you want, but I prefer to use the stone bricks block because I think it has a lot of that curvy aspect to it. That's the one I'm holding right now, as you can see. I think it has like the trenchy aspect to it, where it's got all these lines to it. I wouldn't say curvy. I'm sorry. Nothing in Minecraft is curvy, but it has like these lines and things, so it kind of looks like the middle of like a Star Destroyer or something. I just like the way it looks. That's really the only reason that I use that specific type of block. So that's what you're going to do for this, and you're going to put it into the middle of the Star Destroyer. Now, why am I placing it on the block here? Why am I not placing it like this? Right? Why am I not just placing it like that? Well, there's a few reasons, right? See, can you see the difference there? That's one of the reasons. The first reason is that it just straight up looks better. The second reason is because it is definitely called a trench. It's called a Star Destroyer trench. It's the thing that's in the middle of the two halves of the Star Destroyer, right? And so if it's going to be called a trench, it should actually behave like one, meaning that it should be on the inside of the slabs, not on the outside like this, because that's not really a trench, right? That's more of just another block. So it doesn't work as well. So usually with most Star Destroyers, you're going to want to create that one layer trench. You could do a two-layer trench where instead of having the bottom layer and then the top layer and then the trench only be one block, you could do it so that the trench was like 2 blocks and then you had your top layer. You can make your trench however tall you want to make it, but for most Star Destroyers, just make it 1 block, because 1 block generally just looks best. That's your safe bet. It's just to do one block and just to put it on the inside of the slabs. Always, always, always put it on the inside of the slabs. If for no other reason, then it just looks so much better. So we're just going to go ahead and fill that in, right? And there's our trench, and we're done with that. Like I said, you can use stone, you can use grass if you want to. It would look ugly, but you can use it. You can use whatever block you want. For that, you just kind of have to figure out what looks best to you. But for the basic rules of it, you just place it on the inside, and you replace it between the two layers as I've done there. That works for every Star Destroyer. The next thing we're going to be talking about is beveling. And what beveling means is beveling the back curve of the Star Destroyer itself. So for this, you're just going to take everything that you have. Oop, I think I destroyed a block somewhere down here. Did I? Did I not? I guess I didn't. I guess I didn't. I hope I didn't, because I don't want to, like, have something where it's, like, it's weird and messed up. I guess I didn't. Anyway, sorry about that. Back to the video. So for beveling, and I'm going to go ahead and speed this up since I want to make this video not too long. For beveling the back, all you would do is you would just take this back straight back, right? So what does that mean? That means that if you're working with slabs, you would just add a slab to the back, like this. And what this is going to do is it's going to add a little curve to the Star Destroyer. See how that looks a little better than just having it basically be flat at the back. And what you're going to notice about a lot of these tips is that it just makes it look a little better. But the other thing is that if you've got something like the Executor, right, you could actually take it out further. So if you wanted to bevel this back part a little bit, you could take this out a little more, and then take this out, and then take this out, right? And now you have like this little part at the back where it kind of like slopes in. And you can always add slopes and everything depending on what you want your lines to be. And you just create your lines by alternating depending on what block you're using. So if I wanted to create a line going back towards here, then I would just alternate. So if I wanted to do 2 blocks here, and then 2 blocks here, right? So that I could do 2, and then it goes 2, and then I do like 4 here or something like that. But no matter what, you're always just going to be taking whatever block you have, and you're just going to be going straight back with it. That's the basic rules of beveling. And it's more of just like a style feature. Or like I said, if you're working with something like the Executor, that's really the only use that you would have to bevel your ships. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I didn't want to make it too long. Let me know if you have any questions, if you're confused about anything, and I will definitely work to explain it in the comments because I think that's very important. Next video is going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to be talking about engines, which are the Star Destroyer engines at the back, obviously. Oh, one more thing I should mention is that you don't have to, but you should typically bevel the back and the front. Or I mean the top and the bottom, sorry, the top and the bottom. You should typically bevel the top and the bottom so that they line up with each other, so that they're even, like that. That's not even, that's there and that's there. But they should always pretty much be even, with a few exceptions. Like I said, the Executor, Star Destroyer is, I think, one of those exceptions. So, yeah. But other than that, you should always make sure your beveling is even on both sides. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Like I said, let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one for engines and the bridge, not the bridge design, but the, what is it called? Superstructure design.